He says, "You take my shy away. Baby, please don't take my shine away. Don't make me fight my pain. Baby, please don't take my shine. Don't take my shine." You take my shy away is just so adorable. Like, that, that's something you could get off in real life. Like, let's just bring it back to that. Like,
who are you saying this to in real life?
If you think Adriel Smiley is saying any of these things, you have the wrong number. But
that's what I'm saying. Like, how are you getting this off in real life?
Good afternoon, beautiful people. This is another episode of Album Mode. We review a new album every single week. We look at the lyrics, the production, the overall aesthetic of the album, and how the album fits into the context of that artist's career. For everyone watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video, get your life together, go ahead and subscribe, and of course, at the end, leave us a comment and let us know what you thought about our review. My name is Adriel Smiley, a.k.a. AdrielSmiley.com, a.k.a. Adriel Smiley Official, a.k.a. The Godfather. And we are here like we are every single week with His Royal Highness, a.k.a. The Bunny. Don't get him twisted. King Grant.
What's happening, people? We're back. We're also here with our producer, Agent Zero, Patient Zero, Chris. We're back. This time it's with Majid Jordan, Good People, which was actually their original name.
That's correct.
That was their original name before they decided to switch up to what it is currently, which is a little bit like a little interesting because I'm like, does this mean it's a return to form? Does this mean we're going back? Is this original music that we wanted to drop? You know, when you're doing something like this, you know, it seems a little bit more personal. Usually when an artist drops an album, you know, Majid Jordan is a group, it's a duo. But usually when an artist drops an album, that's their name. Then we're getting to the serious stuff, the quote unquote serious stuff.
You would think so.
We're getting personal. We're talking about my life. So when I saw this for Good People, I'm like, okay, so are we, what does that mean? What does it mean that it's named Good People? Are we getting back to the core? What does it mean?
How do you feel about the name Good People compared to Majid Jordan? Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but how do you feel about, you know?
I think that Good People is like, I think it's a good name, but I feel like it's not indicative of anything, really. Like, Good People, I mean, there's Good Fridays, you know, like the Kanye West Good Fridays. Maybe they don't want to get mixed up, but I just think that it leaves you cold. It leaves me cold when I see Good People.
Yeah, it should bring positive energy, but in terms of a sound, it's like Good People could sound like
anything. Yeah.
You know, for people who don't know about Majid Jordan, we're gonna go over their history a little bit. 2014, their EP, A Place Like This, you know, which features Her, A Place Like This, Forever. That was their first OVO sound release. And then they released their self-titled album in 2016. So I guess their second time having a self-titled project.
Has anybody else done that ever? Back-to-back self-titles?
Not back-to-back, but that's at least more than one.
Oh, sorry, more than one.
Yeah. Their last project was 2 years ago. You know, basically almost 2 years exactly to the day, October of 2021. And it's Wildest Dreams is the name of it. It's one behind you right there. And it featured Drake, Sway Lee, Diddy. I've actually seen Majid Jordan in concert. And one of the best concerts I've ever been to. I'd say I was very, very surprised.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they are very good live. And it was actually the first time that Drake performed God's Plan live. So he came out. Obviously, it was absolute pandemonium. For all my Toronto people, it was at Rebel. So you could just imagine.
Sick.
And then, of course, he announced that he had a new song dropping that next day. And that song was Nice for What. So those songs, those moments are always memorable for that reason. Is there a favorite Majid Jordan song that you do have? Because to me, I think Majid Jordan is one of the most slept on acts in music, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, I think a lot of people know their name and who they are, but they may not know the sound, or they're just not aware of, you know, how good of music they do make. Is there a favorite song that comes to mind for you?
When I think, not really. Right. And I think when you asked me that, I was like really trying to search your brain. I'm like, it's okay. I feel like maybe when you say slept on, I think I am one of those people where I'm like, it's all right. right? And I don't think I have a favorite Majid Jordan song. I feel like they're all
You like them all equally.
they're all kind of just in a box. And I'm like, yeah, it's it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. What about you?
My favorite song is Warm, which, to be fair, they don't have another song like Warm from their first album, Majid Jordan. That was one of the songs that I was like, okay, they got a little something going on here. But I think what you said about it is kind of all one. That's been their vibe from the beginning. Before we even get to anything, we got to say that. Like, that's like been their thing of like, it is almost homogenous purposefully.
You think so?
I think so. That's been basically every project they've done, all their work has been kind of along those lines. I think we should start with lyrics.
Okay.
I have one set here because personally, no offense, but I'm not really checking for lyrics when it comes to Majid Jordan.
Okay, because when I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
That's it? I'm like, this all this happening?
I'm not getting inspired over here with these lyrics. So, I only have one, but this song is probably my favorite song on this project, which is Eyes Closed.
Okay.
And he says, if you stay, my heart is yours. See, you got me feeling things that I'm not letting go. Forget about the world. We're alone. I can't forget you, girl. You're right where you belong. Basic. Fair to say, pretty basic. Definitely some emotions in those lyrics. If you stay, my heart is yours. Listen, we talked about the Spin Back album last week.
Yeah.
If you're trying to, get some bars off, if you stay, my heart is yours, I'm sure that will work in real life. Forget about the world, we're alone. But I highlighted it because this is a lot of the energy of their music it's kind of like a hopeful lover. It's not, what we had talked about last week with Brent Fayez. Very different energy over here. And that's what I wanted to highlight for lyrics because there's a lot. It's like kind of the sound I think matches that, and I think like the lyrics match that.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's I don't want to say it's overly positive because I don't consider them motivational or anything like that, but it is almost that like kind of pop where we're avoiding talking about the bad things,
right?
In a sense,
it's a lot of wishful thinking.
That's
happening.
I love this song a lot. The song's been one of my favorites from this project. But the lyrics are pretty basic. Yeah. Like, you can't play a lyric game with Majid Jordan. I feel like if you play a lyric game with them and you say, guess who said this lyric?
Yeah. You would never guess them.
You could guess anybody.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's their biggest flaw. I would say that's their biggest flaw, honestly. Considering that they make such heartfelt music, or it's trying to be heartfelt music, the fact that their lyrics are generic, or like not even generic is probably even the wrong word, but it's just like lacking of emotion, devoid of emotion. The words exist, like the words are correct, like they make sense in sequence, and you're like, oh yeah, this is very wishful, heartfelt, but I don't feel wishful or heartfelt when I listen.
Creative, I would say.
I don't feel the emotion. Like for example, like Slip, which I genuinely think is probably their worst song ever.
Wow.
Where they're like, I'd love to figure you out. Lost in your rhythm. I need you right now. I can't let my heart slip. Don't let my heart slip. Can't let my heart slip. First of all, I've never heard this turn of phrase, let my heart slip, or I've never heard that before.
Me neither.
It doesn't evoke any imagery to me at all. I've never heard this turn of phrase, and honestly, it doesn't make sense.
Damn. Damn.
So it's kind of a problem for me when that's the hook. So when your hook is like, this turn of phrase or anything like this isn't a real thing, and also there's no like I can't let my heart slip, like that doesn't. I'm trying to think about that in my head, like what that means. Like, the heart slip out of your body?
Let me slip up and love you? Like, maybe?
The fact that we're here trying to decipher this is a one-liner, by the way, or one or two-liner, because this can't let my heart slip and don't let my heart slip. The fact that we're trying to decipher this is, kind of indicative of how descriptive this lyric is.
I think Slip is funny because I talked about on Eyes Closed, where they had some lines you could get off in real life. I feel like if you said, "Don't let my heart slip" in real life, someone's gonna be like,
What?
I don't know what you're asking.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you're asking me to do or not do. So
Yeah.
I like that you highlight that because you're right. It is a phrase that I'm not familiar with.
I've never heard that before.
Again, maybe I'm not young and hip enough, but
I love how you always refer to like maybe I'm not young enough, like a 45-year-old man talking about Majid Jordan.
I may not be young and hip, like, so maybe I just don't know what it is. But that was an interesting song to me.
Yeah,
I think this album lyrically, I've been a huge Majid Jordan fan since the beginning, and
Really?
I really do like their music. But I think that this was the album where I realized that the lyrics have kind of always been in the background. I think that's been part of their energy, but the actual emotion from their songs is coming from the sonics.
yeah, I agree.
I think that the lyrics are kind of like they're like just a placeholder in a sense.
Yeah,
And I think like something that they haven't, bless you,
Thank you.
something they haven't had is like that song or that, I don't know, those lyrics that you're like, okay, I'm gonna remember that they said that. I'm gonna really, hold that close, because I feel like their production style is similar to an 80s, popper style.
Yep.
But I think lyrically they're not there, and that's maybe the issue why they're not bigger than they could be. My last set of lyrics is from Cyanide. And I actually like this chorus, even though Cyanide's not one of my favorite songs off this project.
Yeah.
I think just the way they said this is interesting. On the chorus, he says, "You take my shy away. Baby, please don't take my shine away. Don't make me fight my pain. Baby, please don't take my shine. Don't take my shine." "You take my shy away" is just so adorable. Like,
Yeah.
that, that's something you could get off in real life. Like, let's just bring it back to that. Like,
Who are you saying this to in real life?
if you think Adriel Smiley is saying any of these things, you have the wrong number. But
That's what I'm saying. Like, how are you getting this off in real life? Who's saying
I'm not saying it, but if someone told you, "You take my shy away," you're gonna make some of those noises.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's like you talk about this like hopefulness they have. It's a hopefulness, a little bit of vulnerability.
Yeah.
But there's not any like tough guy in this.
No, zero.
Like, there's not that machismo. Like, that's not involved in this in this music at all.
It's all longing and very much like unabashed longing. By the way, like, there's never a sequence where they're like, "Oh, but I did this, and I can't believe you did this to me."
No, it's all, and that's why, even though I think their lyrics are lacking, I want to give them credit for that quality, because that's a quality in music that is very much an old school thing. That's very much like a 90s R&B, 80s R&B of like longing. I want you bad. Like, now nobody wants nobody, okay? Everyone's like, I can live without you. I don't need you.
Nobody wants anybody, but everybody is somehow seeing somebody on the low.
Yeah, everyone is seeing everyone on the low.
Yeah. It's
So
okay. It's okay to be vulnerable, people.
So it's like this energy in the lyrics of like, it's okay to want someone. It's okay to be hopeful. It's okay to be longing. Like, I think we do wish it was like actually like, more thought out, a little more dense maybe. But I think just that energy in itself in the lyrics, I want to give credit to, because we don't see that very often. We've had so many albums. It's true. Like, they were in a different time. I think like if all music was like this longing, maybe this would be even worse lyrically in a sense.
Yeah.
But because the other side is just like, I don't even need you. I can replace you in a second. Like, every song is irreplaceable energy. Like, when Irreplaceable came out, that was a huge deal. I don't need you. Every song has that energy now. And so I want to give them the credit for, swerving right when everyone's going along.
Okay, fine. You know what? They can get that. I'll give them that. I think that, the lyrics are something and not something good. I think that they are able to at least tap into that vulnerability. So you're right. So we'll give them credit for that, because I think that that's kind of like something that's not really happening right now. You're right.
Yeah.
And I think that we could use a little bit more tenderness, a little bit more vulnerability.
Sure, we're both wearing pink today.
Some longing, exactly.
So you know the vibes. You know the vibes.
Not planned, by the way. We both just popped up wearing pink outfits.
But I think this is gonna work because the episode will drop on Wednesday. And you know what we do on Wednesdays?
Yeah, Wednesday, we wear pink.
Okay, so I think it adds up right there.
Yeah, maybe we should start bringing more pink to our pod now that you're talking about that. Since stuff comes out on Wednesday.
I have so many pink hoodies. Like, yeah, we could. We really could.
Yeah,
we really
I don't
could.
really own that much pink, to be honest.
This is the latest of the collection, but there's a lot more where this came from. Do you have any other lyrics? I got some production notes I want to get to.
Not really. I think on Violet, which is a crossover for me.
Yeah.
Between the lyrics and the production. I just felt like on Violet, they're trying to do a Daft Punk. And that's the reason why I brought Random Access Memories, because I felt like they were trying to basically make a song off of that. But the lyrics, like, first of all, the song is 6 minutes long. Let's just start it right there. Maybe I should have started with that.
I was gonna say, isn't it more than 6 minutes? Yeah, 7:18.
Sorry, 7:18. There's another song that's 6 minutes long, but this is 7:18. Outrageously long. I think Pyramids is the same length, or maybe slightly longer.
Yeah.
This is not Pyramids.
Definitely not Pyramids.
This is not Pyramids. And they're trying to do a Daft Punk imitation of like
with that voice modulation.
The voice modulation, even just like even the production style.
Even the production
the production style it's more Random Access Memories.
I was gonna say it's definitely Random Access more than anything.
Yeah, and it's so obvious that I'm like, it took away from whatever they're trying to do. Just because I'm like, Daft Punk, I know Daft Punk, I love Daft Punk, and I know that you're trying to imitate them, and this is not a good imitation.
I've noticed that with a bunch of your reviews is like, if you can kind of point to where...
Yeah, if I could tell exactly where it's coming from.
It ruins it for you.
And because it's too obvious, I'm like, come on, bro.
I think it depends for me. Like, sometimes I do like that because it's like, you're giving a nod to someone who's amazing, you know? So it's like, I'm not totally mad at that. But when you mention Random Access Memories, I think this would have not made the album. Correct. And that's a big part of why I agree with you in this case. Because it is such a nod. First of all, there's no 7.5 minute song on Random Access Memories. Then this production wise, although it fits the theme, this wouldn't have made the cut.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is, production wise, this was like an album of experimentation to me. And I don't think I needed that from Majid Jordan. I feel like a song like Violet, for sure, I think how the pace of this song is some people's jam. You know, there's definitely someone on here, like, but I don't need that from Majid Jordan. You know, I feel like their style was working fine. You talk about, you know, noticing that something sounds like something else. Hands Tied.
Okay.
You know, it took me a while, a couple listens to be like, who in God's name does this remind me of? And it actually finally came to me, and it was the XX.
Oh wow!
And especially in that kind of like second verse chorus area, it's like, you know.
Wait, what does this sound? Give the video people a little bit of a taste.
Yeah.
Of like
so if everyone remembers the XX, they had like 2 albums.
Yeah. One of them that they had that one song, like the intro song that was like huge on Project X.
That was huge. Yeah. And a lot of people did covers of that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like these Cincy bass that are big bouncing, I would say, and these chords that are very, very light. It's almost like anyone who plays electric keyboard, like when you go to like the highest octave, but it's pretty quiet.
Okay.
And there's no real 808s, no real heavy drums, no real snares, and I liked that sound. I actually don't mind Hands Tied. I think that Majid sounds good on that with his voice. But this was another one where I was like, this is definitely, I know it's where this comes from.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them the pass on this because I don't think the XX is together anymore.
Okay.
I think Jamie's doing solo stuff. So, you know.
Somebody has to carry this out.
Maybe they get a pass for that. But it falls along those lines of what you said of like, I heard and I couldn't understand what it was. But one thing that really made it different was towards the ends, there's this guitar that comes in, this chord that they play that is not the XX at all.
Right.
And so it kind of raises the tempo of the song, which is different from the XX, and that guitar is like not something that they would incorporate.
Right, okay.
So it's like I see some of the source material, but you did, change it a little bit. If I put this in on Turn It In, the score will be pretty low.
Yeah.
The score will be pretty low.
You know what? You know what's funny about when you said there was another song that you were like, oh, it's kind of like an imitation of somebody else. I didn't even think of that one. The one that I was thinking of was "Waiting for You."
I knew you were going to say that, but let's talk about Naomi Sharon before you even get to that.
Okay.
Because we didn't even review her project, and I feel like this is the perfect time to talk about her as a whole.
I think she's a great singer, fantastic singer. I think that when there's like the duplicate voices and like the harmonizing and stuff like that, sounds great, right? But we're just doing a Sade song. This is just doing like Smooth Operator right now.
100%.
I felt like I felt almost like, wow.
Dirty?
No, I was more like, I can't believe they got Sade for this.
Oh, wow.
Right? I'm like, maybe they got a Sade sample or like something for like deep in the archives or something for this, or a sample.
Yeah.
Right? But it's really just like Naomi is kind of just doing her best Sade impression.
That's kind of what her whole thing has been. That's why I wanted to talk about it, is because on this project, we've had a couple other songs we mentioned as like, we see where they're coming from. This is a straight Sade song. Like, you don't even got to be a Sade super fan.
And it's so recognizable. I don't even listen to Sade like that. To be quite honest with you, I don't really listen to music like that. But immediately I was like, this sounds exactly like a Sade song to me.
And Naomi Sharon has been criticized and loved by some that her voice is very, very similar to Sade's. And on her last project, everyone listened to her project Obsidian. A lot of the same, like, it definitely sounds like a Sade album.
Yeah.
So this has kind of been her shtick. And so it's like, this is like, in a sense, a Naomi Sharon song. Yeah. Because, like, all of her music has been like along these lines. I don't know how much you know about Naomi Sharon, how much music of hers you've heard, but how do you feel about that as someone who's like, her whole sound, everything is like very much similar to this pop art artist who everyone loves?
Yeah, it's interesting to me because, for the video listeners, I guess Wait For You is like plucky keys and these very like peaceful claps.
Yeah.
But it's all just like kind of like walking on the beach.
Yes.
Whatever that would sound like in audio form. It's just like very relaxing. And Naomi is doing these like hang on, these very dreamy vocals. But I think that that's an interesting question that you brought up. I think that because I don't know, it's hard for me because The Weeknd is my favorite artist, right? And when The Weeknd first started, the Michael Jackson comparisons were rampant, right? And then he kind of separated himself from Michael Jackson he sings slightly differently, but also the lyrical content of his music is nowhere near what Michael Jackson was ever doing. So he was able to sidestep it in that way. Naomi Sharon is kind of like, I don't see how it's different from Sade. And then it kind of reminds me of Greta Van Fleet. Yeah. Where they're just doing a Led Zeppelin 2.0. And I just feel like I guess it technically sounds good. But like the artistic value in it is kind of like bereft, because I'm like, why do I listen to your music when I could just listen to the original that you're just doing B-sides of their music? Yeah. And not in a drastically different way. It doesn't sound different. It's not lyrically different. So I don't know. I feel like it technically works. Like for this song, Waiting For You, I think it sounds good. It sounds good. But I'm just like, it's so obviously
it feels like a Sade song. Yeah. Even though I like it, it's almost as if, and it sounds so stupid, but I promise this makes sense, is that it feels like when the next song plays, like somehow my Spotify skipped. Yeah. And I went from a Sade album into a Majid Jordan album. I think her music is good, of course, because it sounds like Sade. Yeah. But I do think that this is, I think it's going to be a thing until she has a few songs that are different. I think about Action Bronson and Ghostface Killah.
Yeah.
Action Bronson, I think, production-wise, had a very different selection than Ghostface, and content-wise was different in some places. But that lasted for a long time of people basically being like, I can't hear Action Bronson without hearing Ghostface.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're going to be with Naomi Sharon for a little while.
Yeah, unless something has to switch up, right?
Yeah.
You can't have the vocal style and production style.
Yeah, both is kind of like...
Yeah, because then you're just an imitation.
Yeah.
Sade, not dead, by the way.
No.
You know? So I'm just like, she's still like capable of making music.
And apparently an album coming.
Right?
So
that's what I'm saying. Like, you're kind of, now you're like in a box of just like, you're just doing another person's music, basically, while they're still alive.
Yeah, I would love to see what Sade thinks about this, but I'm
Me
sure,
too.
I'm sure we'll hear about that at some point. Do you have anything else for production? Because I want to talk about this this cover we have here.
Yeah, I would say like after Violet, Violet I think is actually my least favorite song. Worse than Slip. I think that after that, all the songs are kind of just like whatever.
You can do without those.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy to say about a 9-song album. For me to be like, yeah, you know, The Message and Sunset, it's whatever. Like the guitar thing. I feel like doing that type of song where the guitar is so prominent and you're very like lightly singing over it. I don't know if that's possible to be played out because I feel like that's such a core to North American music.
Yeah.
But it feels played out to me. Like, I feel like that the message can exist on a million artists' albums.
Yeah.
Right? Like a million. So I just don't feel like I don't feel like it's important or necessary or does anything for the music or the album overall, you know?
Usually saying it doesn't add.
Yeah, it just like exists. Like it's like here's the album, here's the guitar track where I'm singing with one guitar. You know,
I don't hate it because I think sometimes you do get some gems from that. Yeah, I think you do get some gems when artists do that, but it's not an automatic hit. They'll say that, like, it's not an automatic hit. I as much as I don't love the end of this project in terms of like cohesion and album as a whole, I think their cohesion is good on this project. Yeah. As much as I there are a lot of imitations going on, which I think, to me, I think Majid Jordan is above. I'm sure that will help some people grow to like them more. Yeah. But I think that they're above that. But cohesion, I think this album is definitely cohesive. Like this album is definitely like you could play this, you know, and just let it rock. I think that looking for something dynamic to like, you know, jam to or listen to is different. But this you could definitely play in the background. Like this album is definitely giving like this is like a good Netflix and chill album.
Yeah, throw this on. You can throw this Netflix and chill. You can throw it on when you're doing some homework. Yeah,
this is like this is probably a great background album. Yeah. Like amazing background.
I don't know what that says about your music overall, though. If people are like, yeah, it's great to throw on while I'm doing other things with my life.
I think that, you know, it's a different kind of music, but I think like, you got to think about that album that has that quality to you. You'll probably listen to maybe more than the album that's not. That's true. And so I think about that of like, yeah, the replay value of an album like this that has this quality is high. So
that's true.
That's extremely helpful. I got some choice words for this cover. And I'm gonna keep it short.
You don't like it?
But this is just the words. Okay. The actual picture, I think actually fits the music.
Yes, it does.
And I feel like, you know, it is a very good job of like, okay, like I could feel kind of that warmth from this image and from the project. This font, the way they have good people on here, this is giving like that R&B page on YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is giving like, you know, today's new music. Like,
yeah. Like, I understand what you're talking about.
That's what this is giving. So just for that, it's like every time I see that, I'm like, is this a playlist cover? Like, that's what the font gives. Yeah. But the actual like picture behind it, I like.
Yeah, I like the photo as well. The lettering, I see what they're trying to do, because if you notice that all the letters connect to each other, even the top and bottom, right? Yeah. So like, I get that it's kind of trying to be a little bit like oblique with like what is actually written on it. but I don't feel as though it is aesthetically pleasing to look at. Right? Like, I understand, like, you have the G and the P connected, and then the when in people, the P and like the line with the P.
Wow.
Yeah, like, I get it. But I'm just like, like, okay, like it works technically. Like, again, technically, I think that's the story of this entire album. Technically, it works. Technically, it works. But is it actually something that we want to carry on and actually do?
It's like that movie where the script is good.
Yeah.
And once the movie is made, you're like, but the script was good.
Yeah, the writing is great, but like, for this is like the same thing.
I want to say this. I think they dropped the ball on this one. Even though I love the image, I think this could have been their best album cover.
Me too. I think if they just took the letters off of it, it would have been awesome.
They don't need, they could even just put it in the corner or something, kind of like they did for the Waiting For You single.
Yeah.
I think, and honestly, I hate to say this, but I think what they did for the single is actually better than what they did for this, because the single includes their quote unquote logo.
Yeah.
Which was part of the Space Between cover, kind of like, a gradient of that, or a watermark of that.
Yeah.
With the writing in the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
If they had done that with their watermark in the middle, good people in the corner, that would have been, I think, a lot better. So I still like this cover overall. I'm not gonna just throw it out the trash because I don't love the wording and the font.
Yeah.
But I do think they kind of missed.
Yeah, draw the ball. Wasted potential.
Yeah.
The potential was high and they didn't come through.
Before we talk about the vinyl, I want to give a big shout out to Play the Record. You got the Majid Jordan vinyl behind you. For all my Toronto people, all my people elsewhere, you need your vinyls, head to Play the Record. They got absolutely everything. Is this a vinyl cop for you? Are you going down that road?
I would say no, but I would understand why you would say yes.
Okay.
Because I think that this is very vinylable. Okay. You could definitely put it on the record player and just like let it spin.
That's 100% a word.
Yeah. Vinylable. But you could definitely put it on the record player, just let it spin. And it won't bother you. It won't get in the way.
Yeah.
Right. So I can see why somebody would get it, but personally, me, I keep 8, 9s, and 10s in the vinyl collection only.
We got to verify that at some point. We got to verify that at some point.
Those are my personal 8, 9s, and 10s.
Yeah, there we go.
Even then.
No, we'll verify that. We'll verify that.
We can do that. I got ready.
No.
I want to see if basically all of the vinyl that I want to say most of the vinyl that is here, I brought it.
Yeah.
Right. So if somebody has an issue with one of the vinyls that I brought, does not think that it's an 8, 9, or a 10 out of 10, we can have a conversation.
We'll verify that.
So unfortunately, this one's not a vinyl cop for me. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry.
I think I would. I think production wise, like this on vinyl, this is like a quintessential vinyl album production wise.
Okay.
And I think like some of these songs that, again, I don't really want to like play in my car when I get in my car. Like I'm not, being Alexa, play Violet. Like that's not what I'm gonna really do. But on vinyl in the background while I'm doing something else, maybe I think this works.
Okay.
I say that you're not gonna say this is a no skips. Can I verify that?
It is a no skips though. I do think it is a no skips. I don't think that there's anything. See, here's my thing.
No, I agree with you. I think
you're gonna everything I'm saying now, you're gonna understand in the score, right? But I think that it is a no skips. I don't feel like there's anything. Again, there's nothing offensive about it. There's never a song that I'm like, turn this shit off, right? And I feel like you can let it play from top to bottom. Like I feel like that's very doable. So I would consider it a no skips. Yeah,
I agree with you. I do think this is a no skips.
Yeah.
I get it's hard to kind of separate how much you like individual songs with the album as a whole, but this is one of those albums where the album as a whole is just better than the sum of its parts.
I agree.
So this is, to me, is a no skips. I think you should go first with the score, just because at the beginning you did say you don't even have a favorite Majid Jordan song. So I just want everyone to kind of keep that in mind when you hear the score.
All right, so for me, it's a 5 out of 10. It's a 5 out of 10, but it's one of those 5s out of 10s where it's like, it's inoffensive, right?
Yes.
So it's not something, there's nothing where I'm like, this is trash. but there's no song where I'm like, this song slaps.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it kind of just like keeps it even. It's just like this all the way through. And I feel like that's what a 5 out of 10 is to me. I think that the lyrics are not good, but not horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are kind of, the heart slip one that one's actually kind of bad. But
You're gonna start hearing that now.
I know, yeah. Don't let my heart slip. I'm like, that one kind of is really bad. But otherwise, it's just very generic, heartfelt, vulnerable music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that production-wise, you know, it's a vibe. Very vibrational. Extremely vibrational music.
Big vibey.
But I'm like, some of the songs are so obviously... It's hard to even say inspired when it's like, this is a Sade song. Or this is a Daft Punk song.
Yeah.
Maybe you're... I guess like a person today, like a young person today, might not recognize that as obviously.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
Because like the Daft Punk song, it's not like a Technologic or Around the World Daft Punk song. It's Random Access Memories type of Daft Punk
And I would say
song.
you had to actually listen to the album to know that. I
Yeah.
feel like if you only know the singles from Random Access Memories, you might not pick up on that.
Yeah.
But if you actually listen to the full album, then
It's
right away.
Yeah, it's really obvious. It's like very, very obvious. So maybe I'm just like, I love Daft Punk. I have, you know, a couple of their things on vinyl. I love their music.
Mm-hmm.
Heartbroken that they broke up. Just absolutely destitute.
I'm holding out hope, man. I'm holding out hope.
So even the Tron soundtrack I like a lot. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's kind of really obvious with this production, but it's inoffensive. Like there's nothing that's, maybe it's like a 4.5, honestly.
Wow.
It's a
Even worse.
4.5. I don't hate it,
Mhm.
but artistically bereft. So it's a 4, actually.
Damn.
It's a 4.
Are you done? Is that your final answer?
It's a 4. It's technically, you know, technically it works, but artistically bereft is how I feel about it.
Wow.
What about you?
I'm between a 5.5 and a 6 for this.
Okay.
I'm actually giving it points for being inoffensive. I think that when it comes to an album as like a full, you know, project, being a no skips, regardless of how I feel about the songs, is a plus. Because having an album that you don't have to skip and you can listen all the way through, I think about how much times, and it must happen to you as well, where you send someone a project, you're like, oh, listen to this album, we're doing this project. And they can't even make it till the end of the project.
Right.
And I think this is an album that you may make it to the end. There's a good shot of that.
Yeah, by accident though. You'll make it to the end by accident.
That still counts for something. That still counts for something. And I think, like, you know, we often don't have albums lose points as much for having songs we don't like. We have 4 or 5, 7 songs we like, and the one song was garbage. We don't usually dock them points for that.
Yeah.
I think on the other way, we should give this album points for even the songs I don't love, I don't need to skip.
Right.
So I think I'm going to go with a 5.5 for this.
Okay.
I think this is probably the first no skips that's been so lowly ranked.
This is the lowest ranked no skips for sure.
And I think when I think about my favorite Majid Jordan songs outside of this project, the Eyes Closed is the only one that I think can go in a Majid Jordan playlist for me from this project. And to have only 1 out of 9 to me is not great. But
1 out of 9. First, one thing we want to stack on top of this, it's 40 minutes long, 42 minutes long, and it's 9 songs.
Yep.
So strap in. Strap in.
Longer than the Brent Faiyaz project.
And the Brent Faiyaz project was 14 songs?
Yep.
So strap in for, and that's another thing for me. The songs are too long. Like,
this is a different vibe. And again, I think this is just a whole different vibe. So for me, Good People, Majid Jordan, I'm staying at a 5.5 for my score. I think this album is an album that can grow on people. Again, this is not the project you're just being like, yo, you can't wait to hear. This is not that project. This is like, maybe you have this on somewhere and someone may like that certain, you know, guitar at that part.
Yeah.
You know, that's more what this project is. But I do want to say before we get out of here is like, if you are unfamiliar with Majid Jordan, please listen to their past albums.
Yeah.
You know, like I said at the top, though, I think one of the most underrated artists that people kind of know of but aren't familiar with their music. Of course, everyone's heard Hold On, We're Going Home. Summer's Over interlude.
Yeah.
But they have
good features.
no, and they have good songs outside of this project. Let's say it's my least favorite project from them. But big Majid Jordan fan. Please go check them out. If you made it to the end of the podcast, you know what to do. Leave us a rating and a review. 5 stars, not a single star less. Of course, find us on the interwebs at Album Mode Pod on Twitter, at Album Mode Pod on TikTok, at Album Mode Pod on Instagram. Love all the love that we've been getting on all the socials. Everyone's telling us that we have horrible takes, great takes. We know nothing.
It's has horrible takes, but it's 200,000 people have viewed this video and 10,000, 20,000 people have liked it. Yeah. So is it really that bad? Is my take bad? No, I don't think so.
I would say the more people like it is the more people hate it, because liking things is not in right now.
Is it not yet?
It's more in to hate things.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard. So thanks for all the support that we've been getting. Of course, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to this video, like, share, leave us a comment, let us know what you think. And until next time, know yourself, know your worth.
Later days.